Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Orange County Funding Corporation Finance Committee meeting. It is September 26th at 3:34 p.m. and call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Okay, Dean Tamburri,
Here.
Mark Green,
Here.
James Rinaldi.
Here.
All right, all three members are here. No other board members present, also staff members, Bill Fioravanti, Kelly Riley, Marty Barras, and we have Jose from Acquisitions Marketing. And Shannon Manise, she's our CFO for hire from RBT, of course. Thanks for joining us via Zoom.
Thank you. In proof of notice, the notice of the meeting was duly and properly provided. The minutes of the minutes for the August 16th Finance Committee is attached. New business.
Yeah, can we get a motion to approve the minutes?
Mm-hmm.
So moved.
We skipped that. Sorry. So moved. Jim? A second? Okay.
All favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, 3 ayes. Carries.
Carries. New business approval for the September financials. There's not a whole lot.
No, financials are pretty simple. Starting on page 5 for August income statement for OCFC. You're seeing we've got a little interest income on the COVID loans. That's what that piece is. Interest earnings from our CD for OCFC. And then down under expenses, insurance expenses, as usual, that's kind of our straight line, the portion for this month. With the premium spread over the year. In legal, it's $88 for Buske Holstein, representing it at board meetings here. That's it for the income statement. The next page, page 6, is our voucher for the one expense we talked about for legal, general counsel. On to page 7, looking at our cash and equivalents. We've got our Chase checking account and a CD with TD Bank. Which we are going to be talking about because it expired yesterday.
Correct.
And we do, of course, Kelly shared rates with you that we have for that. But that is, we'll get to that. That's our account statement there. And then the last page, as usual, is our small business resiliency loan status report. As of the end of August, you see 85% of our borrowers have paid already, and we have 2 that are very close to being paid off in Slate Hill Daycare and Old Erie Brewery. So that continues to do well. When we get to our audit time, we'll talk about any other write-offs, or hopefully we're pretty much near completion there, but that is doing well. And those are your financial reports for this month for OCFC.
Thank you, Bill. So we're looking for a motion to approve the September financials.
Motion.
Thank you, Mark.
Second.
Second. Thank you, Jim. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Okay.
Approval of the August and September payables.
Yes, just that one voucher.
Just one.
Right, Kelly? That's all we've got on there, nothing else added since, okay. So that, yeah, if we could approve the payable this month.
The payable of $88 for our general counsel. I'll make a motion to accept that, the payables for August and September. Second. Mark, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. And approval of the COVID-19 resiliency loan fund update. Loans, Bill has stated, 86% paid, which is fine, which is pretty well. A couple that are still coming in. So I'll make a motion to accept that, the loan update.
Great.
Second.
Second.
Thank you, Jim. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. And now for our discussion regarding our CD investment options to move forward. Typically, I know Mark has been working on some of this as well as Jim, so taking a look at what we have. Thank you, Kelly, for providing the rates and companies moving forward.
Kelly, do you happen to know, did they give, like, how much is since it matured yesterday? Do we know how much came
I
to us?
didn't get an amount, I'm sorry, for the interest.
Oh, sorry, just
I
curious.
did not.
Okay.
I did want to note, though, if I speak,
Please.
that I did talk to TD Bank, and he said that if we renew with them, he can take the CD back to yesterday and start interest right away. from them.
It's one advantage there, but of course, we discussed diversifying our accounts as one of the concerns here, so.
Excuse me, or I don't want to interrupt you, but it's like, so even though whatever the funds are we looking to make it round it to an even number again, or just taking what we've had and roll it over, or is that, I mean, we've done that before, but, I mean.
Well, typically, they go by blocks of 1,000 a lot of times, so, that's why I was just kind of curious, because off the top of my head, I was trying to think about how much is in there, so it might be, because if you notice on the, we only got $176 interest, but now that it's matured, it's probably, 20,000, something like that. So I was just gonna say, just put it all back in as much as you can, that makes it round, to maximize it. Personally, we only have this one here anyway, so, it seems to me, I still think we do 3 month, because I still think there's one more rate increase coming, my opinion, so I would just say go with TD again. My personal opinion. What's on your mind?
I agree.
Okay?
Yeah, so do I. I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, so.
So, yeah, so, motion is to reinvest the 1.7 plus whatever interest to make it, whatever they'll do, and then, whatever the, couple of dollars is, you can pull that out and put it into the checking account.
The only thing I'll add is that just one thing we need to keep in mind with OCFC especially is there's not a lot of revenue that tends to come in. So, and we are depleting here and there, the insurance figure, some of this other stuff. So just keep an eye on that cash checking account balance, and if it gets, below the kind of levels we talked about, then let's use the excess for future, conversions of CDs to throw back in there.
Well,
We're not near that level for the next 3 months. now.
Right, I just want you to be advised of that, that's all, just because it's just, it tends to go down and not, go up, so.
Yep.
All right, until we get, give it a good bond project or something.
Okay, so the motion is to take the funds of the CD from the M&T CD and put it into another 3-month CD.
I think it's TD. then,
TD,
not
TD.
NT.
TD,
Yes.
okay? TD moving for another 3 months. Make the motion. Second. Jim, all in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Second. Aye, thank you.
It's all our business today for this.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn? I'll make the motion.
second?
Second, Mark, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Meeting is adjourned.
Yes, it is. All right, we'll move right to IDA Finance. When you're ready, Dean, you put the meeting to order and move to this.
Again, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the IDA Finance Committee meeting. It's September 26th, 3:42 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call
Dean Tamburri,
here.
James Rinaldi,
Here.
Mark Green,
Here.
all 3 members are present. Same staff here as well,
Thank you.
and consultants.
Thank you, and the notice of proof was duly and properly provided. The minutes for August 16th, Finance Committee meeting, looking for a motion to accept. Any questions? I have no questions. I'll make the motion to accept the minutes of August 16th, 2023.
Second.
Jim second, all in favor? Aye. Motion passed, thank you. And new business, approval of the August financials.
Yes, and we'll get to page 5, financials there.
Mhm.
All right, starting at the top under income.
So do you want to let Shannon do this?
Oh, yeah, exactly. I
Yes.
forgot Shannon's here. Shannon, please, if you would, thanks. Kelly should kick me out of the table. I don't know how long
If my
your leg
is
is.
on, I know I could.
Just throw something.
I'm on a roll, Shannon. Thanks. Go ahead, please. Shannon Manisi.
Thank you, Shannon.
So for August, you have your normal subtenant rents and your interest on your investments and bank accounts. So for August, you had $3,614.63 of income. Scrolling through the expenses, everything is pretty much your normal standard monthly expenses. except for marketing and PR, you have $8,125 for public relations, social, and email branding from Capacity Marketing. And then in your membership and events, you have Upstate Capital Association with a $5,000 partner event collaboration. So your total agency expenses for the month were $17,545. Your legal pass was OC hospitality application fee, and then your solo fee program, that was the report and recommendation. So your project totals for the month were $33,799.75. Your payroll is standard, no changes there. Your building rent was for September rent, and then your CAM true up from January through August. That's why that's so high for this particular month. And then your maintenance is 2 months of cleaning, and then you have $600 on deed control. So your building expenses were $19,713. And your total expenses for the month were $98,749.81. And you're showing a loss there because you don't have the income. But overall, you're still at a profit for the year. So, any question on any of those?
No questions on the P&L? All right, next to page 6. You want to go to the cash and
Because
account?
you're, at least on my packet, it's the invoices, or do you want me to go through the bank statement? Or the bank balance?
Yeah, the bank balances, actually. That's next in our packet.
Okay, yeah, no problem. So, for August, you had, $1,665,059 in your IDA operating account. You had $87,629 in your trust escrows, and you had 7.9 in CDs, and you guys are going to discuss the CD that matured yesterday. So you had, $9.6 million.
Question. Did we discuss this checking account, the 1.6 million in the past?
It's a timing issue. I
Yeah.
think you're gonna ask about the 1 million CD that we put into Lakeland. That happened in September, so that's why there's a higher balance in the checking account, and you don't see that CD listed right now, because this
It's
is
done.
August.
Did we say you could speak?
I knew you were gonna ask, I could tell by the way you were looking.
Yes.
Beautiful, thank you, perfect,
They're prepared, don't mess around.
perfect, wonderful,
She knows
wonderful.
she can ask
And we
before
did
you ask.
decide later,
Exactly.
right, to diversify?
It was 5.25% for 6 months.
Beautiful,
So next month, obviously, that'll be,
beautiful. All right, so that was one question. So if I'm reading this correctly, we have one that came due yesterday, the 3 million at TD Bank.
Mhm.
Again, I think we rolled it into a 3-month. I would say even though we would lose, or we would not gain $1,700 for the year, I would say let's put it in JP Morgan, so we diversify a little bit. I don't think $1,700 for the year is enough of a deterrent to keep us from diversifying a little bit. That would be my opinion.
But, can I just ask one question? Those are 2 JP Morgans. One was indicative T-bill. I'm not sure exactly what that was. Or the other one was the CD, which is in the 4%.
correct.
All right, I
I
didn't,
saw that, but I'm not sure.
I should have pointed that out, yeah. I know you and I talked about T-bills for a while, and
well, I mean, we can do a T-bill if we wanted to.
We can.
I mean, it's a federal.
it was just where we were at the time, probably 6 months ago, we talked about it. You didn't think it was advantageous necessarily where the market was going.
Right.
What is it, why not then?
Well, I mean, if we can get, if this is saying we could get a 3-month T-bill, I mean, that's what I'm assuming when you called, that this was a.
That's what he
Yep.
gave me.
Right, so then that's fine. The concern I had with treasuries, investing in, let's say, a 3-year treasury or even a 1-year treasury, would be, let's say we needed to take the money out prior to to completion. And if the interest rates had kept going up, then the price of the T-bill we bought would have gone down. So let's say we're,
Inverse to the market rate.
right, so let's say we bought a 3-year and we're a year and a half in, and interest rates have gone up another point. That means that the price we paid, it's now underwater. And let's say we were forced to pull that out, then we would potentially lose money. But if this is a 3-month treasury bill, there is no conceivable way
Correct.
we're pulling that out prior to it maturing.
Correct.
So, I think we're good with that. And plus, it continues, again, I'm a fan of just kind of not having all eggs in one basket. So, that would be my suggestion. What are your thoughts?
So then we would have fairly close to the two of them becoming due again almost the same time, but.
Well, which is what we want, because then we can,
The rates may change again, so.
yeah, rates may change again, and we could roll it 3-month, we could say, well, we'll do one 6-month, maybe we'll do one year. So, it will, not that this is just kind of a benefit, but it makes our life a little bit easier.
Sure.
Because we'd only be talking about this every 3 months. But, we certainly didn't want to mess around with this and lose out on the opportunity. So this was the goal, was that it kind of synced up, so that way we're only asking for rates every 3 months versus every single month and trying to catch.
Better control.
Yeah.
People must be doing this continuously all through. I mean, must be rewriting these things continuously.
Every day.
with all the-
Every day. Every day.
Especially now with the rates.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my motion would be to put it in the 3-month T-bill at 5.33% at JP Morgan. That's what I was proposing, or.
Why don't we do that at the end of we're in the middle of financials? Why don't we
Okay.
finish that, but at least we took care of it.
Yep,
Let's approve that at the end of these,
yep,
okay?
okay.
Okay, Shannon, I don't know if you were gonna go through payables or not typically, no?
No, I wasn't, but I can if you want me to.
Yeah, no, and I certainly can. On page 7 for your packets here, we got our usual in the, the top section there, our copier lease, our rent and our true-up has been talked about, our gas and electric here, internet, our banner advertising, cleaning service, our ITC for our network administration, and then going to card member services, usual services you tend to see us put on here are GoDaddy, QuickBooks, Zoom, et cetera, et cetera. Second, a credit card has an event that I went to, as well as some office supplies and such, and a little bit more on email services and such. And then we have staff payroll down there, our office telephones, pest control, as seems to be one of our bigger items these days, and our advertisements for public hearings, our water service, and then in the next page, again, more of our kind of website support, things like that. There is a payment request here for Harris Beach for our Paris reporting. That's all Harris Beach is doing for us now, and we've heard us say it many times. These ladies will certainly second this. They do a tremendous job. Julie Marshall's amazing. So she not only helped us complete our Paris reporting for 23, but we had a lot of inquiries, normal, very normal. She says we're still lower than a lot of IDs she works with from the state comptroller's office. We send the Paris reports to the ABO. If they have problems, they will give them to the state comptroller's office, or the state comptroller will look at some things themselves. So we have a lot of back and forth with questioning. Julie helps us with all that because it gets complicated. So that's really to pay for her support for 22-23 Paris reporting. Well worth it, that's for sure.
Well, does that
Yeah.
like continue throughout the year? Or once you file it, then the questions start coming in?
Yes,
They go-
exactly. And we've had a couple of rounds of them, and sometimes they're complicated with whether it's a question about a bond deal or some projects that go way back actually, so that at least the origin of the pilot payments or whatever it might be about. So it does go up throughout the year. And we're about to, next step is to work with Julie on putting our approved 2024 budget. Actually, I have to do 2 more budgets beyond that. always have to be entered into pairs. So that's the next thing she'll kind of help support us with, but this is the real bulk of her work. Loki Brill, we're still doing some local labor auditing with them, or local labor monitoring, I should say, with them. So we're getting reporting from them and paying them for site visits, most of which is paid by the applicants. Some legal counsel you see there as well, and of course our CPA work with Shannon's firm. And lastly, but not least, acquisitions marketing, doing for the last couple of months, doing our live stream and taping our meetings. So you have total payables of $12,230.50 that we're looking for your approval on. Actually, there's one last tranche here, which is the all other. I forgot, which is Kelly can gladly explain this, but it's just a simple transfer. We've done this before from IDA checking into the CD is actually what that first one is for. Body at rest, I'm not familiar with that one.
The body at rest, that check was put into the wrong checking account. It was put in the OCFC, so we in turn had to cut a check out of the OCFC and bring it back into the IDA checking account. That's what that $474.50 check is for.
Thank you, Kelly. And just the last two items after that. One, another event that I went to, and then lastly, our sponsorship of the cannabis conference last week. So in that category, $1,005,539.50. Those are our payables. So we'd be looking for approvals of the August financials, of the August and September payables, and then we'll get to our last two items.
So I'll make a motion to approve the August financials. We do them together, correct?
Yeah, you're gonna do financials and payables?
Yes, financials and the payables.
I
So
don't see why we
the
can't.
motion for the August financials and approval of August and September payables.
Did you say you were
I'll
moving
make the
or?
motion, yes.
Okay, so we need a second.
Second.
Good.
Jim, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Very good. Okay, next subject is our retirement plan. So this is something we've been working on for a few months now. I think when I first brought it to you, I was mostly focused on the fact that the IDA has an opportunity to participate in the New York State Pension Plan. NYSLRS is what the plan is called. I've spoken to a lot of IDAs out there, especially our colleagues in the region. What do they do? How many participate in the plan? And very few participate in that. I wasn't exactly sure, but we also went down an alternate path, looking at kind of a more traditional 401k and some of the vehicles you can use for that. Really our analysis, and I'm going to let Mark Green, talk more specifically about the plan that we've been looking at. But the concerns with the pension were that it may not be a fit for anyone that works here, including our current employees, because you can do some modeling and see exactly what the pension will do for you based upon how many years this, that, and the other. And unless you're in for 25 years or so, it may not be as attractive and as cost effective as a traditional 401k. And also we had some discussion. Dean and Mark were really gracious with their time and really participated in some meetings about this. We're also, with the direction of the IDA, the nature of our work, we're a little wary of really having this become almost a full county agency, and that your pool of talent comes from those that are working in state or local government work anyway, because they're going to want to stay in that system. So we really examined this other avenue, like I said, more kind of traditional retirement plan. I talked to a few potential providers of that or administrators of those plans. Ended up working most closely with Spectrum, which actually is tied to RBT, our CFO for hire right now. And Dean actually has had some experience with them as well, so it was a little kind of a vouching for them, for their integrity and such. And we did have a meeting last week, the week before, where I invited Dean and Mark to that. And Mark, if you don't mind, kind of taking it from there and talking about, everyone has seen the documents that I've shared, the one that's in front of you. If you wouldn't mind me putting you on the spot to talk about kind of the model that we were most recently exploring with Spectrum and the thought behind it.
Sure. I mean, if we could maybe take one step back, I think there was the thought of looking at potentially getting it to the New York State pension. It was a daunting task. It also was going to be a pretty big amount paid up front for that, to catch up, so to speak, and to get into, you know, the tier. But the biggest concern as we did more and more investigation into that was it wouldn't, that there's a real, not just a potential, but a probability that some of our employees wouldn't even benefit from it. And so to put that kind of money into the system and then have the real, you know, more than just a 50-50 chance of not getting our employees to benefit for that, it really makes it difficult to continue to move forward with that option.
And Mark, before you touch on something else that I failed to mention, which is the tier. We're also in a new kind of era for New York State pension where it's tier 6, where in the past employees didn't even contribute towards their retirement. Now they have to, 6% and such, so it also is not as valuable in that regard. So I did fail to mention. Thanks.
Good point. Together, maybe all of us together will
I
get
know.
through this,
We will.
because it is a complicated, and there will be questions. I've had a lot of questions. So we looked at the next avenue, which was setting up, just as any, you know, business should, setting up a 401k opportunity for employees to benefit from. And in discussions there, you know, I think for me, and I'm just speaking for myself in this, you know, the real concern was not just moving forward, but also maybe trying to right some of the past. And so in discussing the 401k, there's also the opportunity to do what's called a profit sharing. That is the name of it. That does not mean that it solely comes from any profits derived from the entity. That is the name that is used. So the first and foremost, if we go forward with this, I urge everyone to really do everything we can to make it happen by December 31st. Because if not, we're going to lose on a full year that we could contribute to the employees. And that to me would be I wouldn't want to have that responsibility, that we didn't do that. Second, really, it's about, we would have to set this up, a 401k program, which we can continue to talk about as over the next 2 months and really kind of hone in as far as the program itself getting set up. I believe it was $7,500, and then it's right, like another $1,500. No, it's $1,500 to set up. Then $1,500 a year to maintain, and then, you know, we could set it up so that it's employee matched between 3 and 6%. You know, my back of the envelope, I think I did 5%, and looking at everything, it would be basically a cost, if everyone put in every single amount, it would be around $13,000, $14,000 per year commitment to match. But then there is the ability this year to get it going where we can do a profit sharing. And, you know, this is done before December, where we take up to a max of 25% of our entire salary base, and that can be distributed. We don't have a tremendous amount of flexibility. However, it doesn't have to be equal weighted based on each individual salary to hopefully make up some of the things, you know, to get people in a position a little quicker that maybe don't have as much time. And so that the overall startup of this program to get the program started, to do this 25% profit sharing, the setup would come in at just under $75,000 for this year as an expense to this year. And like I said, it would get each individual's retirement set up, money in there to make up for the past several years that this hasn't been done, which it had said it was supposed to be done. And then we can move forward, and then at the end of every year, come November, December, based on success, based on, continued employment, we could then make our own discretionary decision as to funding that profit sharing component at the end of the year. I think that's kind of it in a nutshell. We can he and haw over whether we want to max 3%, 4%, 5%, 6%. It's going to be pretty negligible, quite frankly, but again, if some people want to do 3% because that's kind of what the industry standard is, I'm not really a fan of that, so that's why my goal was 5%. Any thoughts? Anything anyone?
Just one last thing about, I don't know if you touched on the 12/31 kind of deadline for us.
I did.
You did, right?
I
Okay, good,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
All right.
You read out.
Okay, good, thank you.
So, thoughts?
Well, again, I agree with the 401 and matching. I mean, what's the max that we can go up? You said 5. We can go up to
6%.
6. Yeah.
And then the additional profit sharing is a combination of the employees totaling 25% of total compensation.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it gives, I think we should have both up, the profit sharing and the 401k, and I think it gives the board, again, discretionary to make up for what we didn't have in the past, and then for moving forward, I think it'll attract employees, et cetera,
Yeah, I mean, I
without being
definitely
completely tied
have
into.
to get this going. Yeah, ludicrous thing.
Mhm.
They didn't have this for so
Mhm.
long.
Yes.
And speaking of that, Mark talking about kind of going backwards, I just want to talk to that quickly, that there was an old plan here years ago, a 403B, I believe it was, which is really for not-for-profits, 501c3, so they really shouldn't even have it. And at one point, years ago, they discovered that they shouldn't, whoever clued them in on that. And then they made a one-time contribution, I think it was about 5% in excess of employee salaries, 1 year, and said, in their pay, so it was still subject to taxes, income tax. And they said, this is gonna cover you because we don't have a plan. And then the next year came, and the employees were wondering, okay, are we getting that again? But they said, no, it was just one time, it was gonna take care of it. So it has been my goal to try and make our staff whole, going back to those years. And I realize we're not necessarily obligated, but in an effort to try and do the right thing, especially with what we've had in terms of loyalty and this, that, and the other. So that's the idea, to look back, and the profit sharing vehicle allows us to, whatever degree, be as aggressive as we want to for certain employees or everyone, for however long we want to do that until we kind of meet our goals.
I also think that for an organization that is trying to attract businesses and trying to attract jobs, and again, I've said this, blue collar, non-union, blue collar union, management, what have you, frankly, not having some sort of program in place is frankly embarrassing.
Yeah, we have to be our own example.
Yeah, I mean.
For the businesses that we're
Sure.
trying to attract. I've said it before that I think the makeup's important to us as well. That's how we are where we are today. Everybody working together, finishing this, and people helping out in that regard of where we actually are today. I think it's important to recognize that. So, and we can do it. We have the ability to do it, and it should be done. So we're gonna.
So I was just going to segue into that. I think what we're looking for is you to approve a recommendation on behalf of the Finance Committee that would authorize me to set up a 401k. I think with Spectrum, I think we can name them, set that up, and then I'd like to follow up, coming back, and probably have one of their advisors come in and talk specifically with us. We can meet on the side and kind of committee work, but with the full board saying, here's how we're going to set it up, and allow the board to set the parameters as we like.
Yeah, I would say my goal, the reason why I push so hard, why we're having this today, is because we only have 2 more meetings. So I didn't want to run into, because again, if we do decide, then we have to do this, right? We cannot let this go away. I don't want to waste this year, I guess is the point I'm trying to make. So in my perfect world, we discussed tonight, we hopefully get approval from the rest of the board tonight, and then my goal would be at the October meeting, having them come in, because that would give everyone 4 weeks of time to ask questions. We can certainly answer any questions that we can, but then to really get into the nuts and bolts of it, so that way by the November meeting, we're
We commit to
we're
what
committing
funding,
and we're
what-
writing
what-
checks.
where we
In
are.
place, right.
Is it, you know, so that's my timeline. Make sense?
I think so.
All right.
So we can get a motion to recommend to the full board, establish a 401k
Yeah.
program with Spectrum
And then profit share.
in the profit share,
And the profit
exactly.
share.
And using the company that
Yes, the Spectrum.
It's a local company, which is another plus. The other ones were not, one was New York State, one was Pennsylvania, but this one's Orange County. So that's
And they
another.
represent a wide variety of different sectors in the
Absolutely.
community, so.
So I will make the motion to set up a 401k and a profit sharing plan to be discussed at the full board later today.
And it would be Spectrum.
And Spectrum as the,
Administrator?
thank you.
Yeah. Do you want to second that?
I'll second that.
Okay.
All in favor?
Hi.
you.
Aye.
Okay, terrific.
Motion passed.
All right, and last thing, because we are a little cutting into our board meeting, but thank you for that. We already discussed the CD, okay, for a motion to authorize the staff to invest in a T-bill with JP